solar coaster. Come along for the ride, yeah. The solar coaster's rolling, it feels so right. Hop on the solar coaster. Come along for the ride.
Hi, my name is Anna Covert, and I'm coming to you from my battle station here on the beautiful island of Oahu. The topic is innovation, and my special guest is Anthony Baro, the founder and CEO of E2 Soul and Port Docks. I've had the opportunity to work with Anthony for several years and always impressed by how he creates products and solutions that meet the growing consumer's needs. Thanks for being here today, Anthony.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Anna.
So you're such a different type of solar company than what we usually, or than the average bear, I'll say. Can you tell us about how you got into solar and what makes you a little bit unique?
Yes. So about 15 years ago or so, I was working for a large defense contractor, and I was working almost 24/7 in a very senior position. And I said to myself, do I really want to continue to do this to the rest of my life, And at the time, I was really developing a niche interest for being an environmentalist and so forth. And I decided to study about how to become a developer and learn the solar business. And so that's really what I ended up doing first to try to get into the renewable energy business.
Interesting. And tell us a little bit about Port Docks. Yeah, tell us a little bit about Port Docks. I think that is such an interesting product.
Okay, so one of the things that makes it unique at E2 Soul is that we're not your traditional solar installer or engineering EPC firm. We have a unique eye for innovating. And pretty much every project that we develop for our customer is unique in a certain way because it's really tailored to satisfy their energy needs, their financial pain point needs, for example. And so as far as trying to innovate solutions, which is what we do, we also come up with our ideas for products, for future products, where we see the uses. For example, we noticed the same transition that is happening in the automotive industry, where we're transitioning from fossil to electric, is happening in the marine field. So pleasure boats are transforming into electric boats. Jet skis, pleasure crafts are going electric as well. And as of late, they are case studies already proven of a large mega yacht, 100, 200 feet, fully electric.
Wow.
And so when you look at the marina infrastructure that houses all those boats, the marinas have to maintain customer base at their site, okay? So customers are going to be coming into the marina with electric cars. They're going to park. Then they're going to go on their boats. By the way, it's going to be electric eventually. So, the marinas are going to have the pent-up demand for electricity, okay? And so we saw a niche in that, and then we said, okay, in the middle of the harbor, we are an example. We are a sailboat family over here. And when we go to our boat, my wife, Kelly, always told me that she never has a cold dredge because I never leave the batteries running. So that was how we won't be able to get off the mooring. So I said, I got to do something about that. And out of our need, I basically took a look at traditional marina floating dock. And we developed that floating dock as a solid floating powered microgrid. So it's a structure that is not only a docking facility for a vessel, whether it's in the open water or at a marina, but it allows you to walk you over solar. It generates power. And then below the deck, you have energy storage. So it stores the energy. So it's a completely floating power microgrid that you can have in the middle of the bay. electricity. And then we said, okay, well, that leaves the room for installing charging stations for recharging smaller pleasure boats in the middle of the water, and that opens up another market. So it's like a electric vehicle charging station in the open water bay, for example.
Wow.
And so we took that to several innovation competitions and industry exhibitions like the Miami International Boat Show and the Electric and Hybrid Marine World Expo in the Netherlands. And right out of the bat, we won innovation awards here in the U.S. as well as in Europe. And then, of course, with all the customer flow after that, we saw the market growth, and we ended up spinning that innovation into its own separate company, which is called Power Docks. And from the recreational side, we have gotten into defense industry. We have gotten into aquaculture farming because there's no renewable energy floating power in the area. So it really has opened up the horizon in what we're doing in the marine field.
Oh, that is so exciting. So tell us about your creative process. How do you identify a need and then create the steps to be able to present this innovation to potential customers or investors?
It all starts with a need for a product or service. So Power Duck started with my need to have power in the middle of the harbor on a mooring without using that generator, trying to solve that problem. That's how Power Duck started. We have another innovation where we're actually converting a vehicle cargo box into into a movable powered microgrid. So a lot of customers travel to work for about 45 minutes. They park their cars for 8 hours. They work inside a building. When they start to go home, all that energy during the day could be stored on a cargo box on top of the car, so that when they go back to their apartment, because they do not own a residence, they're able to plug in directly, vehicle to the grid.
So basically on the car, it's like the solar panel and it's parked outside in the
All day.
parking lot. Wow.
Yeah, you see these cars that are traveling, and then on top they have a cargo box that's got clothing and things like that you're trying to use. We're just taking that cargo box and we're transforming that into a movable microgrid. Then you can use it as a vehicle to the grid or vehicle to your home consumption.
Wow, that's really fascinating. What other innovations are you working on?
The latest one is you take a look at a medium on your main highway, and the federal government is giving a lot of money to the states for installing electric infrastructure along the highway. But where is all that power coming from to recharge the vehicles? And so we have actually developed a product that would be installed in the median of the highway on the barrier, and we're transforming the median into a utility.
Wow, so that's the electrification of the highway system. It's basically people, just like I think they've kind of done that in Europe, right, with the Autobahn, right? There's some use cases I've heard there.
And see, they're actually focused on developing solar on the road. Wow. And there are use cases of that. In our case, we're we're looking into developing utility by leveraging the median of the highway.
Interesting. And then so that's there on the highway, and then you have little off ramps where drivers go off the highway and charge a car with a supercharger, and then speed right off back, on I-95.
Yep. If you go into that's exactly the application. If you go into our website e2sol.com, you go to the investors section, and in there you will see the 3 different innovations that we're commercializing.
And where are these going to first be seen? What states are you working with them in?
Well, it's a totally new product, okay? And we're working with the first in Rhode Island, because we're based in Rhode Island. We're working with the Department of Transportation on the innovation side to see if we're able to get a grant to fund a pilot or a better project on a section of the highway. So that's what we're doing this year to try to do that, prove out the case.
Yeah. So talk to us about that, like in goals. So how do you set a goal and then market them to the right type of investor? Like, how do you know how much money you need and how to sell this concept? Is it very B2B kind of targeting? Or are you going and pitching it at summits? You're submitting them for grants. What is your process for picking an objective, identifying how much the value is, and then selling that story to someone to get the funds?
So to be honest with you, we identify the need on the consumer side of it first. We try to innovate a solution to address that need by leveraging existing infrastructure and the use of technology like solar, for example, and energy storage. And then we do a market research assessment as to the potential use in the market and what kind of a volume and business activity we can generate. And if it validates our business assumptions, then we commit funding to design, develop, prototype, and then do a case study to prove out what we set out to do. I got to be honest with you, to this day, we have not gone out for any kind of a investor. We're self-funding our own innovation and our own commercialization. And the reason for that is because, one, we're in a good position. We feel very lucky to be in a good financial position to be able to do that. But secondly, it gives us full control of what we want to go with the product and the technology. It may be at some point in time when we prove out the case studies and we get more products out there with the customers, that then we attract the investor size, and then we don't even have to go look for them. They just come to us.
Sure. The law of attraction, right? So what do you see? A lot of things are happening in the renewable space, right? And I guess at least what we've been experiencing is a little bit of a delay or lag in residential this year, which we didn't expect, right? With all the tax credits and new opportunity and real need, right, for, movement away from fossil fuels. What do you think is the biggest challenge that the industry faces in the next, now and in the next 5 years?
The biggest challenge that we have today is not in consumer adoption of renewable energy or better means of renewable energy. The real difficult challenge that we're facing with today is in dealing with every individual municipality, with every individual state utility or municipal utility, bureaucracy in getting projects permitted, for many reasons. A lot of the utility distributive generation personnel that they have are not engineers. They are people on contract, and they just following. If it doesn't fit on this circle, it's not acceptable. Kind of an automated thing that they don't have a balanced knowledge of what you're trying to do, and the bureaucracy is so big that it's very difficult to get anything done in a timely manner. Nothing gets done in 30 days. And then if you need to make changes to satisfy somebody's opinion about something, you into the 30, 90 days. With municipalities getting permitted, again, some of these places are so understaffed that just because the sheer volume of people trying to build houses and other projects and things like that, the cycle time of getting permits for projects, we're seeing 2 to 3 months to even get permits through, never mind getting inspected. So all these delays from the utility interconnection processes and municipalities, I think, are the biggest challenge for adoption in the short term of all these things that we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I know you do a lot of work in Spain. What are we seeing in Europe? Are they experiencing the same kind of struggles, or do they have it more worked out?
I'll give you an example. In December, we worked on a project in Puerto Rico, 90 kilowatt commercial solar system. Okay. It has been the best project that we have done so far. Okay. All you need to do is register with the government as far as registering your project that you're going to be doing, and registering with Luma Energy for the purpose of interconnection. As far as starting construction and in the installation, on commercial projects, we did not have the need to file for a building or electrical permit. So right there, 4 weeks went out the window, out of the schedule, to our advantage. So, and then at the time when we completed the project, the utility allowed us to turn the system on and use the power to offset the customer energy, even though they haven't even completed doing the interconnection application.
Wow.
That would never happen in the United States.
No. Wow. So do you think that maybe that's one of the opportunities, I guess, that really to move this industry forward is really to get more buy-in and more support for the government, these departments, to be able to, take a unique look at what's happening, and things are changing so quickly in terms of technology and, all these products for demand response and other, tools that are now accessible to us, to allow them to move faster and be more fluid with their interpretation of how it fits into the grid and I guess just in general.
I see the bottleneck in the process of processing permit applications, the process of approving interconnection applications, processing. The U.S. Department of Energy has done a lot of work in coming up with very quick and expeditious residential solar permitting. Not all the states municipalities are willing to adopt that in the process for whatever reason. But that's how this thing needs to go. It needs to be, I hate to say it, but taking the people interaction in the process will help speed things up if it was more automated.
Right. In terms of commercial, have you been able to help or provide any of the direct pay initiatives to nonprofits that was, announced as part of the, Inflation Reduction Act?
So we haven't had a nonprofit commercial project this year that could take advantage of that. So the answer is no. I haven't had to go through that process with a nonprofit commercial yet.
Yeah, and for the rest of our viewers, really what that means is that instead, before, tax credits have always been one of the number one reasons that, homeowners or commercial decided to go solar. But, now with this direct pay, what can happen is a nonprofit will be able to get money from the government to pay for their system instead of it being like they don't pay their taxes, right? So they would get a check, which could significantly increase their opportunity to get solar and save money today without having to use a PPA or lease.
Yep, and that is a big incentive to help them to move the needle on that part, and then they will tell you that they need help getting the 70% that they need to fund.
Right. So what is going on in Europe? I mean, you do a lot of work in Spain. Is that still a big focus of yours?
Spain is booming right now. Yeah. Spain is booming. We're so busy in the United States and the Caribbean that I haven't even, kept my eyes on the opportunities in Spain. But Spain is really booming right now with renewable energy.
Very exciting.
I would love to be able to go to Portugal or Spain, but we have a lot of business in the U.S. right now.
Are there any specific commercial verticals that you're seeing are starting to adopt faster? Like warehouses, or is there any kind of niche that you're leveraging?
We're leveraging retail stores, companies that have a lot of retail store boxes in different states. They seem to be adopting this a lot quicker. One, because they also have the need from supply chain merchandise distribution, and they see the opportunity of adopting electrification of their transportation trucks and small delivery, last mile delivery trucks, for example, and then they're able to recharge them at the point of destination when they arrive.
No, I mean, are they also probably, it makes me think about the marketing of, if you're a retailer with a freestanding building, if you want to attract customers, you have to provide those customers with ways to charge their vehicle.
Yeah, so this is already happening in California, in many of the fast food franchises, for example. They already installing electric charging stations. You go to, let's say, a Burger King, for example, and you go out for lunch or a meal, you could be charging your car while you're having your meal at the store, for example. California is already going that way.
Yeah, it's if you don't do it, then they're going to go to another location, right?
Where they can. Yeah. So power is really becoming a commodity.
It has. I actually heard the other day from a client we're talking about how AI is going to create more demand on the grid, an unforeseen demand, because we need all these servers and they're popping up in all these different places, kind of like what happened with Bitcoin farming, right? And there's so much need for these AI systems to be able to send data quickly. And as it grows, are we even prepared to be able to support that with our current infrastructure?
And our current infrastructure cannot support the current demand. Okay? airports. The same phenomenon that is happening in the car and trucking industry that is transforming to electrification. Okay, the same thing is happening in the marine industry, in the pleasure marine market. Okay, the same thing is happening in aviation. You have companies that have secured large contracts with what do you call it? Large contracts with companies that actually provide regional flight services for customers. Okay, I give you an example. A company like Lilium, I think it's an Israeli-based company, electric aviation. About 120 Lilium units have been ordered already.
Wow.
So if you're a small regional executive airport and all these electric planes are going to be coming in,
Oh boy.
a lot of customers are coming in on their electric fancy luxury vehicles. They're going to go from LA to San Francisco. Who's charging the cars at the executive airport? All I'm saying is that demand right now is not serviceable, and at the same time, it's growing in the transportation industry, is growing in the marine industry, and it is going to grow in the airspace industry. So demand is not going anywhere but up exponentially.
It is. It's going to be a very exciting time to see what kind of innovation we can come up with to satisfy this need.
Well, the latest crazy thing that I said crazy, but it's all doable. The latest thing I read is that somebody is already playing with the idea of developing a solar farm in space, in outer space, to really capture all the energy and transmit the energy back to Earth through microwave energy, concentrated microwave energy. And they have that company already developed a small prototype satellite in unit, and they have already proven the technical capability to transfer power from outer space, granted in small wattage, back to Earth by leveraging microwave transfer technology.
Amazing. So cool. So to wrap up our podcast for today, I'm liking to ask all of my guests with, as you know, my book's coming out soon, and it's about digital marketing and really focused on how to help companies protect themselves from the growing fraud online. And it's about, picking the right partner. And so I wanted to know, have you experienced any digital fraud, or have any tips for our viewers on how to pick the right partner, protect yourself?
Yeah, so we have been fortunate so far, maybe because we do not do any advertising in the media or anything like that. So we don't, we're not out there getting a lot of attention. A lot of our business is generated through people discovering us online or primarily through customer referrals. So we have been fortunate from that point of view. As far as any digital fraud of that, like that, any pictures, any proprietary pictures or ideas that anyone have, I recommend you have it registered, so that at least your graphic or your picture is registered, and if it shows up somewhere else, it shows that it's registered, and then you can take action on that.
Like a trademark, or we're talking about another
actual
way?
Yeah, you can actually register any proprietary picture that you have. And if anybody uses that picture out of your website or something like that, so the picture always goes with your registration number. So if you find your picture somewhere else, the file for the picture will show your registration.
Interesting.
Yep.
Into that. That's a great tip.
As far as content is concerned, that's going to be difficult with AI and things like that, getting information. But the key is to develop content that is genuine on what you're doing. So it's not easy to copy or replicate.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for being here today. That was fascinating. To learn more about E2Soul, you can visit them online at e2soul.com. And to connect with Anthony, you can find him on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much, Em.
Hop on the solar coaster, come along for the ride. Yeah, the solar